Hey friends, it's Robin. Welcome to a new reading vlog. Hopefully you cannot hear my laptop in the background. I am exporting a video and my laptop sounds like a spaceship, so hopefully you can't hear that. The day that I'm filming this intro, I'm actually wrapping up my Neck Alley reading vlog. I'm feeling good and I really want to do another vlog, and I have been kind of sitting on this vlog idea for a while, so we're gonna start it right away. The idea for this vlog came from the A to Z live shows that Stef from the Novelty Corner does. She not only does live shows of this, but she has videos as well. But I have done 2 live shows with her, and I always come away with a million new books that I want to give a try. And I decided that now is the time because I ended up with a bunch on my Kindle. I have 7 books that we are going to read, which sounds like a lot, but the majority of these are actually novellas. If you haven't seen one of Stef's videos or the live, all of these books on this list came from the one that I did with Stef, Heather, and Bree. So I will have them as well as that live show linked down below. I'm going to go through what they all are, how I'm going to be reading them, how long they are, all of that kind of stuff. So the first one, I'm pretty sure came from Bree, and it is Sing Anyway by Anita Kelly. This is an author I already love. I have read Anita Kelly's trade books, but apparently they had indie books prior to being picked up by Forever, and I had no idea. This one has been going around quite a bit. I've been seeing it ever since, I think it was the Trans Rights Readathon. I've been seeing this book everywhere, and I really want to give it a try. I love Anita Kelly's writing. I think their romances are really soft and sweet, and I've heard such good things about this one. And so I'm really excited to give this one a try. I do have this one on audio through my library, and the audiobook is only like 3 hours. So I should be able to listen to this in like a single sitting because I listen to my audiobooks somewhere between 2 and 2.5 times speed. So this is only going to take me an hour, hour and a half. The next one is Fans Only by B. Love. I think this was a recommendation from Heather. Actually, I think the majority of these are recommendations from Heather. She recommended a lot of novellas, and so I was just kind of grabbing all of them. This one I have on KU, and it is just over 100 pages, and this is an OnlyFans steamy romance. That's all I know about it, is that it's OnlyFans based. And I know Tracy from Bookend to Bookend also really loves this one because I posted like this in my TBR template over on Instagram, and she messaged me right away saying how much she loved this one. Next one is Last Light by Claire Kent, which is the only full-length physical book I will be reading, and this one is just over 300 pages. I believe this one is post-apocalyptic, and it is an opposites attract romance where these 2 main characters would have never met, never known each other if they were in any other situation, but they are very alone. I think I can't remember if everyone else has evacuated and they stayed behind, but for whatever reason they are very isolated and they bond and have a romance. I'm excited to give it a read. I was just reading Pestilence by Laura Thalassa for the last vlog, for that Neck Alley vlog, and I loved the paranormal elements but hated the romance. So I'm excited to get another post-apocalyptic romance. Hopefully I like the romance as well as the setting in this one. Then is One Night, One Bite by Daria Anderson. This is another steamy novella. I have this one on KU. It's 80 pages. I don't remember what this one's about, but I assume vampires. That's all I got. Next is Marriage Contract by Shay Davis, which is 95 pages, also on KU. I don't remember what these are about, but these were all sitting in a Kindle wish list that I have specifically for books that people recommend me, and I downloaded it. Don't remember what it's about. Same thing with Held in Contempt by Ava Cherie, but this one's only 50 pages. So I downloaded those 3. I'm pretty sure all of those came from Heather from Hia Booktubes from that last round of A to Z recommendations, and I chose them specifically because they were so short. So I'm excited for those. And then the last book that I'm going to read for this vlog is a recommendation from Stef. Not only from Stef, but from Bree and Heather and everyone else. It's In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. I have this one on Audible, and this is the one long book on this list. Part of the reason why I chose the other ones and why I chose such short books is because this audiobook is 16 hours long. This book is so long. I am really bad about putting off long books indefinitely, and so I decided to put it on here and then counter it with a bunch of novellas. So that is going to be the game plan for this reading vlog. We're going to see how I like my friends' recommendations. I have a feeling I'm going to actually love the majority of these. Some of the novellas might be 3 stars just because novellas can be a little bit hit or miss. Sometimes they try to do too much in too few pages, but sometimes I have 5-star novellas. So we'll see. But I have a really good feeling about a lot of these ones. I chose books that I thought I would like rather than just picking recommendations that I don't think are for me. So I think I'm going to start with Fans Only by Be Love because I had actually downloaded this one during that live show because I was so excited for an OnlyFans romance, because The Nanny by Lana Ferguson did that, and it was my favorite element of the romance. I love really sex-positive romances. Plus, it's super short, so we should be able to read a book right away tonight. I have been having a rough August, so that was another reason why I wanted to do this video. Is as of today, it is August 8th, and I have DNF'd 3 books already. And then the 3 books that I read, one was a 2.5 star, one was a 3 star, and one was a 5 star. And so August has really said, no good books for you. So I thought a recommendations blog would force me to read some books that other people think I will like. So hopefully we get some better results out of this one. I'm gonna go finish up my day, and then I will come back to you when I start Fans Only. So it is much later. I have washed my face because it is actually quite hot out. It was cold the last couple of days, and suddenly it's back up into the upper 80s. So I'm a little sweaty. But I am 45% into Fans Only by Be Love, and I'm really liking this. It is a really fun premise. It's a friends to lovers romance. My dog is drinking water. Are you done? I'm in the middle of something, buddy. Boomy. Thank you. It is a friends to lovers romance. These two are part of the same friend group, and they have kind of this antagonistic relationship. They like to push each other's buttons, and they clearly have a lot of sexual tension and chemistry between the two of them, but they are almost too similar, and so they've never really gone there with their friendship, but they both find each other very, very attractive. And at the beginning of the book, their friend group is having this conversation about whether or not any of them would start in OnlyFans, because they come across this account and she shares how much she makes, and it is a lot of money. Our heroine and the hero are both like, hell yeah, we would. And they both have really, really big dreams that require funding to start. Our heroine wants to do this really coveted mentorship out in California, but the startup cost is, you know, $100,000-esque. And the hero wants to start his own studio, which again costs hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to purchase locations and, you know, get equipment and all of these things. The two of them are very independent and self-sufficient, and they do not want to ask anyone else for help. They decide to start a mutually beneficial OnlyFans situation together. They're doing it for 6 months, and they're kind of playing into the whole like friends to lovers trope. And so they started this OnlyFans and a Twitter account that's linked to it, created hashtags and stuff, and are essentially selling it as a friends with benefits thing that is going to like turn it more. But they have obviously, as a friends to lovers romance, agreed to not catch feelings. And they're clearly both catching feelings. So far it's very steamy, it's very good. I like that the characters are really flawed, but you can't help but root for them. The hero talks about how his romantic past is not ideal. He has been cheated on, he's cheated, and our heroine was clearly in a manipulative sort of engagement. And so they both have hangups about romance and relationships. And the way that the hero cares for the heroine is just so cute. The heroine is so feisty. She is not good at like sharing feelings and like opening up to someone else. And so she's constantly like coming back with these quick retorts, and then it's like, shit, I'm really sorry. Like that's just my default. And the hero keeps like checking in with her and like creates these situations to make her feel comfortable. And it's really great. I'm liking it a lot. I'm hoping that this has an ending that doesn't have either of the main characters giving up their dreams, because it seems like it's such a deep part to them as characters, and I would be kind of sad if they gave it up for love. But this isn't a Hallmark movie, so hopefully they don't. I will come back to you once I finish my book with my final thoughts.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in long conversations, oh, 'cause I've always been told that things will unfold.
Alrighty, I just finished Fans Only by Be Love, and I gave this 5 stars. This was so good. It was the perfect length. It was ridiculously steamy, but it didn't like lose the romantic side either. It balanced it perfectly. And this could have gone wrong in so many different places, because they, like I said, had that antagonistic relationship. They were friends. They were starting a physical relationship. The hero has had not the greatest romantic history. There were just so many elements that could have gone wrong, and they were done so well. I loved watching the characters fall for each other and communicate with each other, and it was so good. There is an element in here where the two of them tried to push each other away, and I loved how it all concluded and came back together. The hero just adored her to pieces, and I loved it a lot. This was my first book by the author, but I actually have Sweet by her on my TBR as well. But I definitely need to go and pick up a bunch of Be Love's backlist. I'm always on the hunt for an author that does novellas really, really well, and this one was fantastic. So we're starting this off very well, but my NetGalley vlog started off with a 5-star as well and tanked from there. So hopefully the other recommendations go just as well as this one. So, but yeah, that's going to be it for today. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
But then you came along and proved me all wrong. I was so mistaken, 'cause you glue all the pieces back.
So it is actually Thursday. I didn't update you all at yesterday, mainly because I ended up working really late. I didn't anticipate that. We were trying to push through this project, and you know when you get to like a point on something where you're like, I am steps away from finishing it and I just don't want to put this off until tomorrow. I'd rather just like finish it today. That was me yesterday, and so I ended up working until like 6 o'clock or something like that, just because I was determined to finish it. By that point, my husband was home and I was sitting on the couch reading with him, and I didn't feel like coming back upstairs, but I have a ton of reading updates. So I started in on Last Light by Claire Kent. I don't even know why I started in on this one, but I sat down in bed and this was like right at the top of my Kindle, and it was like, you know what? Let's start here. I am completely and utterly hooked by this book. It is so addictive. What kind of magic did she put into this? Because like I even took a break yesterday because a library audiobook came in that's like not for this video, it's just for me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break and listen to my audiobook, and I think I made it like less than an hour before I was like, no, I need to go back to Last Light. I am just completely obsessed with this book. It is post-apocalyptic. Climate change was happening, all of that stuff. But there was a meteor that was coming, an asteroid. I don't remember which one it was. All the scientists were like, no, it's gonna miss us. Turns off that they were off by like a percentage of a degree. And when you're talking about that type of size, it matters. And they realized like a couple of months before the asteroid hit that it was gonna hit us. They did what they could to evacuate and stuff like that, but the asteroid ended up hitting Western Europe, so Italy, Germany, the UK, and completely decimated it. Like, it is gone. It had massive impacts on society. And so then there was all these like hurricanes and tidal waves and earthquakes and all of this stuff. The atmosphere was completely covered in like soot and ash and smoke. And so all the plants and all the animals and people started to die off because people were getting all these lung diseases that were taking them. Society kind of crumbled, electricity went, and now Earth is kind of a wasteland. And this is 4 years afterwards. These kind of like little pockets where there are like safe zones. And so think like Fort Knox, Fort Briggs, like things like that, where they were highly defensible places already. So people have kind of moved there. Some people have stayed in their small towns and like barricaded them in. For the most part, there's not many people left. Billions of people have died. Right at the beginning of the book, our heroine has just lost her grandmother, so she stayed behind in her small town when everyone else left. After her grandmother passes, she decides that she's going to leave her small town and start moving towards, I think it's Fort Knox. And so she has to cross multiple states, but there's no cars really anymore. Like you have to pillage in order to find a car and try to find gas. And she ends up meeting this guy who is somebody from that same small town where she was at. Like she's like 20, 21, and he's in his like mid 30s, I think. And he was the mechanic in the small town. And so they know each other, but they never ran in the same circles, nothing like that. They are two people whose lives would have never intersected if it wasn't for this very specific situation. They end up realizing that they are safer together. And so they start traveling together. And as they are traveling, they are growing to desire and want each other more than just for physical protection, but for like mental and emotional support as well. They, at one point, go through something pretty intense. Heroine and him have acknowledged the fact that they are attracted to each other at this point. She's like, I need to feel something good. She's like, everything in my life is about survival, and I just need something good in my life. And so they start a physical relationship. That's kind of where we are at now. I don't want to spoil any of like the plot points. So that's where we're at, but you can tell that they are growing to really depend on each other and care for each other, but they are trying to keep walls up. They know that the odds of them both surviving until the end is unlikely. It's them trying to make it. I cannot stop with this book. I am obsessed. I think I have like an hour left and I am desperate to know how it ends, because this is one of those books where it's like, how do they get their happily ever after? Although I will say, as heavy as parts of this book can be, there is this like beautiful sense of hope, because as they are traveling, sometimes they camp outside and they are kind of like staying in these really isolated spots. And so they like hear bugs for the first time, like they can hear crickets. And then they are in the woods and they see an animal and they're like completely in awe over this animal. I think it was a cardinal the first time. And they're just like standing there like watching this cardinal trying to not cry. And then they're at this other house and the hero's like, I think I hear turkeys. And so he goes out and he's like, there were 2 turkeys. And he's like, I couldn't kill them because it was a male and a female. And he's like, we need the turkeys to reproduce. And then they see berries on a bush for the first time that are actually edible. And so there's this like really, really beautiful sense of hope. I am going on and on about this book. I'm sorry. I promise I'm done now. But game plan for today, I actually have a really busy day today. It is August 10th. So I actually am doing a live show over on Megan's channel, Megan from Meowth Vader. I'm going to have her as well as the live show linked down below. She has started doing these escape room lives and I am terrified, but very excited. I also am going to attend a Forever event, Forever Publishing, I think that's what it is. They do these seasonal live things where they talk about the upcoming season's releases. And then I need to film today, which is why my hair is partly done. So I need to finish getting ready. And then I have my work meetings and all of that stuff. I also need to edit my Neck Alley vlog, which is already live by the time that this is going up. So I will come back once I get back to reading and we can wrap up Last Light and then choose our next book. Hi, I'm back. I haven't started any of my stuff yet. It's only like an hour or so later, but I just got a whole ass box from Bloom Books. So I thought, since I'm vlogging, I'll open it with you, even though this has nothing to do with this video concept. I'm a little nervous because I did just DNF the Four Horsemen series, and I have no idea what this box is. I shouldn't say never, I never got Bloom Books or Source Books, the book before, and I don't know what changed, but suddenly I think this is like my third box, not box, but like package from them. So I'm scared. So let's open it. I'm the actual worst. I'm gonna go take a moment and think about what I've done. Happy Friday. Ignore my like wild appearance. It's only like 72 degrees outside, but our humidity level is already to like 91%. It is going to storm like on and off all day. So it feels disgusting in our house. Like everything feels wet. It's gross. And I refuse to turn the air on because that's who I am. My desk is also a mess because well, look at that. I'm getting my planner set up for the day so I can focus. But I didn't update you yesterday. The day kind of got away from me. I attended a Forever preview live show. What is your deal? Ugh. I had like 2 hours to eat, take care of the dogs, see my husband, and like all of this stuff before my next live show with Megan, Bree, and Heather, which I will have linked down below. It was a ton of fun. I feel like I wasn't very helpful. We finished it pretty quickly. I think we finished the escape room in like 45 minutes. But I did that and that was a ton of fun. And like in that 2-hour-ish block beforehand, I was reading through Last Light. I realized it was like 20 minutes before the live show and I had like 30 minutes left in my ebook. And I was like, no. Right after the live show, I literally just like closed my laptop and finished the last 10 pages or so. This was a 5-star book. This book was so freaking good. Why was this book so good? I actually got like teary-eyed right before I had to leave for the live show, and I'm pretty sure if I had read that like last 30 minutes straight through, I would have been sobbing. It's not sad, but there are just like these really cute moments in here. I think part of it is the built-in tension and like drama of the post-apocalyptic setting that just made everything feel so much more important and like serious. And oh, it was so good. And it's funny because like there are so many parts about this book that I shouldn't have liked. This is a travel story. I don't like travel romances, but this travel is really good. And I think part of it was because the setting was so important to the story and like what they were experiencing throughout this book was so important and so integral to their relationship that it didn't feel like we were aimlessly wandering for no reason. Like it was an integral part of their romance. I loved it. There's a dog in here, and now I need to read the rest of her series. I'm completely and utterly hooked. It is Red, White, and Royal Blue Day, so happy Red, White, and Royal Blue Day to anyone who's celebrating. I already have the movie queued up downstairs. I know a lot of people watched it last night, but I did not, so I'm gonna watch it today. I'm gonna get started, finish this so I can clean up a little bit and get to work, and then I will come back to you once we get reading.
Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better.
So it is quite a bit later. I have finished work. I have watched the Red, White, and Royal Blue movie, and it was amazing. I definitely cried. Not like full on sobbed, but the ending of that book and movie, just, it gets me every single time. And those two, I love them. The entire book has a special place in my heart too, because it is one of the first arcs that I ever got. And it's still, to this day, one of my favorite books of all time. And the movie just made me want to reread it again because I love them. Now the problem is I am completely and utterly hung up on that story and I'm having difficulty moving on. So I'm trying to come up with a game plan. I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is read the shortest novella. So I have to figure out which one that is so that I can use that as like a way to snap out of it. It looks like Held in Contempt by, I can't read the script on here. I think it's Ava Cherie. Cannot read the author's name on there. I'm assuming in color it's easier to read, but it's only 50 pages. So I think I'm gonna read that And then I'm going to switch to the audiobook of Sing Anyways. Is that what it's called? The Anita Kelly book. I'm going to pop the cover up right here. So that's going to be the game plan, is I'm going to sit here and read Held in Content, and then I will come back to you and tell you what I thought about it, my rating, all of that stuff. And then we're going to switch to the audiobook, do some cross stitch, and then we'll go from there.
You're making me wanna try forever. I feel so free. Oh, my sweet baby.
I just finished Held in Content by Ava Cherie, and I really liked this. I'm giving this 4 stars. I think this was such a unique novella. I've never read a romance that was set up quite like this, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm going to keep this really vague because I think that the little reveals throughout this were really fun. Even though this was only 50 pages, they totally got me. So we're following our heroine, who is a Black female attorney in, I think, Washington, D.C. I'm questioning that now that I'm saying it out loud, but I'm pretty sure. But she's one of the highest paid and like most successful partners at this big law firm. And the beginning of the book opens up with her in court facing this slimy white dude that she keeps having to face in court. And she can't figure out why this dude is out to get her, and the judge that is overhearing the case has to keep getting involved because the two of them keep sniping at each other. And then when the case wraps up and she wins again, the judge asks to speak to her in person, and they go back to his chambers and they hook up, and the story goes from there. Like I said, the way that everything was laid out in this book, I think, was so much fun, and like I said, so different than anything else I had read. And on top of that, the romance aspect in this one is, again, very different, but this has such a good plot in it. This deals so heavily with racism, so do know that going in. There is a lot of racist comments in here. They're all obviously challenged. This is a Black love romance. The other attorney says some pretty terrible things. This had a lot of really good themes and messages and things to say in it, and it was great. I had such a good time with it. That one was a success. I am going to eat some dinner. My husband just got to his like reception thing, so he'll probably be there for a couple of hours, and then once he comes home, we'll probably like hang out for a little bit. So I think I am going to grab my headphones and listen to my audiobook for a little bit. Maybe I'll come back after the first like couple of chapters and tell you the synopsis, because I don't know what the synopsis is, and then we'll wrap up that book as well. So let's get to it. Literally don't remember when I updated this vlog last. It's been a minute. I ended up not feeling super great yesterday, and so I did nothing. So I think the last time I updated you, I had just finished Held in Content, and I was going to start reading Sing Anyways by Anita Kelly. And I did. I read Sing Anyways by Anita Kelly. I listened to this on audio, and I'm giving it 3 stars. I thought this was really good. I think this had a lot of really amazing things in it. The non-binary rep and discussions, especially in an older main character, loved that. I loved how casually queer this book was. This is actually the first book that Anita Kelly ever wrote. It's a novella series. I think it's 3 books, but it is following these groups who all go to this bar called like the Moonlit Diner or something like that. Everyone calls it Moonies. You are following all of these main characters who are regulars there. In this first one, there are these 2 friend groups who only have ever like seen each other, and we are following a main character who always had a crush on the heroine. She is a regular at the bar, and she always starts karaoke, and so they have always kind of been crushing on her, and the heroine invites them to hang out with their group of friends, and they hit it off, and they have this amazing one night together. I think what stopped this from being an all-time favorite, because there was nothing about this book that I didn't like, but this entire book essentially takes place over that one night, and then you just kind of get their like HFN. If I'm going to read like a little glimpse into somebody's life, I almost want it to be like 50 pages. And so this just was like a little bit too long for it to be a single night. But I think the number one reason why this wasn't like an all-time favorite is I love Anita Kelly's new books, and I was so aware of how much they have grown as an author from this debut to like their latest Something Wild and Wonderful. Their latest books are like some of my all-time favorites, and so like this was really good, but I just prefer their full-length novels. But I'm glad I read it. Like I said, the non-binary rep and discussions in here I think were so good. So yeah, 3 stars to that one, but not because I thought it was bad. I think that a lot of people will really, really appreciate the discussions in here. It's just not a book that can live up to my favorite Anita Kelly books. So on Friday night, I just ended up rewatching Red, White, and Royal Blue because I wanted to. And then on Saturday, we went to the beach for a little bit. I do have some footage here of me at the water. And then ended up coming home and really not feeling well. I don't know if I discussed it anywhere, but essentially it's been confirmed that I have scar tissue buildup in my large intestine from years and years of damage and different therapies. And so it is causing some problems. I wasn't feeling super great yesterday, and then I ended up napping and I was still feeling kind of crappy afterwards. And so I was just kind of listening to a comfort book. I was actually listening to my audiobook of Red, White, and Royal Blue, if I'm going to be totally honest. I'm not going to like keep reading it or anything. I needed a comfort book yesterday. So, and now I'm back to this reading vlog. So I think I have 3 books left, 2 of the little novellas and then my audiobook. So I have some Sunday things that I need to get done. I just finished taking photos and now I need to fold my laundry that I finished washing. I need to do a little bit of meal prep. I just have to wash some fruits and vegetables and then boil some eggs for the week. And then I need to edit photos. So I think I'm going to start In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. What do I know about this? I know that my friends have been telling me to read this book forever. It is very long, which is why I haven't read it yet. It's 16 hours. So, but for now, I'm gonna go start doing some laundry and listen to my audiobook. So I will come back to you with my first impressions, a synopsis, and all that stuff because I have absolutely no idea what this book is about. Hello. So it is now like 3:30. And I have finished with laundry, I've finished with editing photos. During all of that, I have been listening to In a Jam. I'm now just over 30% in, and I'm really liking this. It is a small town second chance romance. So our heroine right at the beginning of the book is in her wedding dress and an hour away from walking down the aisle, and she gets a call from her fiance calling it off, and she is now staying with her friends. One of the things I do really love about this is how amazing the friendships are, but she suddenly gets this call from this lawyer, or a letter from this lawyer, saying that her step-grandmother left her the entire farm. And of course, the inheritance comes with strings, and she needs to get married before the end of the year or 1 year after living there or whatever in order to keep the inheritance. She goes back to stay there because she needs to live there for the next year, and she kind of needs the fresh start anyway, so she's like, even if I can't keep this farm, like, I'm gonna spend the next year there. And when she gets there, this guy that she knew in high school is back there as well. And it's been like 14 years or something since they've seen each other, and they were really, really good friends in high school. He's kind of holding a grudge against her, and she doesn't really understand why because he was the one to leave first. And it sounds like he thought that she was going to wait for him when she ended up leaving as well. And so he's kind of been holding this grudge against her, but it is their second chance romance. On top of all of the stuff that she is going through, the hero has adopted his niece because his sister ended up getting involved in some drug stuff and is now in prison. I love how the hero is trying to like stay away from the heroine because he's like, I've already fallen in love with this woman once, and like, I'm not going to be able to stop myself from falling in love with her again. But then like every time that he's around her, all he wants to do is like help her and take care of her. And he's always trying to feed her. I love it. I love it so much. My game plan for this afternoon was going to be to edit, but I just don't have it in me, in all honesty. So I am going to take my audiobook downstairs, relax for the evening. So I will see you guys in the morning.
I was never the one.
Good morning. So it is the next day, but I did do a whole bunch of reading yesterday. So I ended up finishing The Marriage Contract by, is this one Shay Davis? I ended up giving this one 3 stars. This one was just okay for me. I think it had some really cool things in it, but it didn't do much for me. I don't think I ever talked about the synopsis of this one, but essentially this has a pretty basic romance plot where we're following our heroine who is very straight-laced. She goes to Vegas, she has a wild night, she wakes up married to a guy. In this case, he is an MLB player. The two of them need to stay married to clean up his image. Very straightforward, and I think this had some interesting discussions in it because this does follow a Black MLB player, and there were quite a few discussions about the way that the MLB sees him and like the different standards that he is held to because he is Black, and how they won't let him get away with quite as much as like a white player does. And so I think that aspect of it was really great, but I feel like this book was either too short or too long because there were a lot of little other side elements in here that I don't think ever got enough time to be explored. And so I wish they had either been cut out and this book was shorter, or were explored more and this was a full-length novel, because instead it just kind of felt very surface level. So I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. This is a book that I will very easily forget about, I think. I have been listening to In a Jam by Kate Canterbury, and I read so much of this last night. I think I have like an hour and a half left. Did I mean to read a 16-hour audiobook yesterday? No, I couldn't stop. I get why so many people love this. It is, like I said, it's just a very addictive story. I really love Friends to Lovers. It's one of my faves. It's a second chance romance, another fave. That's where I'm at reading-wise. It is now Monday. I didn't get my video edited yesterday, so I need to do that so I can actually go up tomorrow. I need to do some work because it's a Monday. It's cold and rainy, and I don't want to do anything. It's like, I don't know, 66 degrees out, and I'm just freezing cold. It's supposed to rain all day, so it's dark, and I just don't wanna. I'm gonna make myself get some stuff done. And then I think over my lunch, I'm going to read my last physical book, One Night, One Bite by Jariah Anderson. So I'm going to read that, I think, over lunch, and then this evening I would like to finish In a Jam so that we can wrap up this vlog, and I will come back to you when I start reading One Night, One Bite. I feel like my camera's not focusing well, but hopefully you can see and hear me. So it is a little bit later. I ended up taking the afternoon off. If you follow me over on Instagram, you have seen me talk about this already, but I have been dealing on and off with some long-term damage that's been done to my large intestine just from years of disease. My doctor had recommended a medication to help with some of the symptoms I'm having, and insurance denied it. I'm frustrated and having an afternoon pity party. I just started One Night, One Bite by Jariah Anderson, and I'm really liking this already. I just finished chapter 2. This world is just so cool and such a unique setup for vampires. It sounds like this kind of introduces a world, and I need to figure out which series by this author it is because it's really, really cool. There was some sort of like meteor or something like that that caused a mutation in humans, and supernatural creatures came from it. Humans, being the shit shows that they are, fought back against it because they didn't like not being at the top of the food chain. And so it caused this big massive war because the US is just great at handling things. And now the northern half is purely human and the southern half is for supernaturals. And like humans can live in the south, but it's kind of like supernaturally ran. And so our heroine is at this club. It is her birthday. It is Valentine's Day. Apparently this started as like a Valentine's Day short in her newsletter. She runs into this guy, quite literally, and he's a vampire for this like vampire crew group that is kind of like the king of vampires. and they are trying to save their race because humans, again, because they totally suck, introduced these like terrible evil vampires to kill them all off. And so now that they have kind of saved their race from these evil vampires, they're trying to maintain control and save their race and their mates. And it's just, I'm really liking it. I'm liking the characters, I'm liking the world, I'm liking the setup. They're fated mates. Obviously, I love a good fated mates. So I'm excited to see where it goes. It's a super short read. Like I said, I am already 25 or 24% of the way through, so I have like 50 minutes left. I'm just gonna go back to reading and enjoy my afternoon off. So I'll check back in with you once I finish this.
Kept on playing my part, wanting to give up cause nothing was changing. But with you it's so clear, and now that you're here I see colors in every spectrum. Guess I finally learned my lesson, cause you glue all the pieces back together.
Hello everyone. So I'm actually here to wrap up this reading vlog because I finished all my books yesterday. I meant to update, like come back and update, but I was having a day yesterday. I think that was kind of clear. I ended up reading the final novella, which was One Night, One Bite by Dry Anderson, and I gave this 5 stars. I just thought this was such a fun world with vampires. I liked the fated mates aspect. I liked it all. I thought it was really, really good. It's vampires. It is kind of an alternate timeline, alternate universe sort of deal. Our heroine is a fire elemental, and I don't want to ruin who her family is because it's kind of a surprise, I guess, at one point. I want more from this story. And I need to go make a list of this author's backlist because I want to read more of them. 5 stars to that one. And then I did right away end up going and finishing In a Jam by Kate Canterbury because I needed the last 2 hours of this book, and this was also 5 stars. I get the hype. Daddy Bradbaker is everything. This was really great. But not only was the romance great in this one, but the friendships were so good. The female friendships that the heroine has, a 10 out of 10. The little girl cracked me up. She swears like a sailor, and it killed me. I thought that was the funniest thing. But this also had some really fantastic discussions in it about his sister who is incarcerated and the strain it's had on the family, but his love for his sister and how difficult it has been watching somebody that he cares deeply about fall into this terrible situation, as well as the heroine learning to trust people and trust herself and trust her instincts and allow people in to love her since she does have such strong abandonment issues. I thought there were a lot of layers to this book, and I really liked it. I thought it was really adorable. The writing was great. The audiobook was well done. So 5 stars. I really liked it. This vlog, so much more successful than the NetGalley one. I ended up reading all 7 books, which I'm actually pretty proud of. It was such a fun vlog. I'm so glad that I read all of these books. I'm glad that so many of them were wins for me. Thank you guys so much for watching this vlog. If you've made it all the way to the end, let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know if you've added any of them to your TBR now. And if you do want more recommendations, like I said at the beginning, the A to Z live shows will be linked down below. If you don't want to watch the whole live show, Stef does list all of the books in the A to Z order in the descriptions, so you can go and peruse at your will. So thank you again for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye.